Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I am free at last. These are the inspiring words of Dr. King. But one may ask, what does freedom really mean? Is it possible for humans to really be free? Well, doesn't everyone want to be free? Or is freedom the most frightening prospect for humans to face? Maybe so, maybe not. Join us as we examine what freedom is and see if you really want to be free. This is Who Am I? All right, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty. We've all heard that, the speech from Dr. King. And, we're looking at freedom, okay? We have been looking in the last few shows, we were looking at this thing called choice. And then the Bible says, you have free will. All right, you choose to either serve God or you chose to serve Satan or something like that. I mean, you religious folks would know that. But, we're looking really at what freedom is, okay? Because, who was it? Kanye West, right? Said, slavery was a choice. I mean, like you choose to be a slave. Well, see, maybe, if we get into it, we can see deeper, really, about this thing called freedom. Because this country was supposed to be founded on a desire for freedom. We got July the 4th coming up, in a few weeks. And so, it's supposed to be about, where, the colonies, y'all know your little history, American history. But this idea of freedom seems to permeate almost everything. It permeates religion. Do you have free will to choose God or to Satan? Do you, choose to, this country really about freedom? Or when Dr. King was talking about freedom, what was he out there? Did he really understand what freedom was? Yeah, Gloria.
Well, if we go up to our questions again.
Okay.
Or start there.
Uh-huh.
It's like, what if I said freedom is one of the sources of God's identity?
Okay. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by freedom?
So freedom is who I am. Freedom is I am.
What does that mean?
Freedom is now.
What does that mean? Okay.
I am.
See?
Existence.
Well, yeah. See, freedom means, it's unrestricted. It's unbound. Okay? And so, it's like there are no limitations, all right? And what Gloria is getting to is that if you have limitations, can you have freedom? All right? If you're limited, and what limits you? All right? And is that which limits you, is that the source or the authority or the power which says, no, you cannot be unlimited? All right? Now, every human identifies with their body, okay? And we say that, I am a body, I'm somebody. I came out of another body called my mother, all right? And I would say Ruth Carter was limited, and Alan Carter is also limited. So if freedom has to deal with unlimited, can that which identifies with a form, and the form that we all identify as is this body, okay? We even give God, I mean, everybody has seen, the picture that Michelangelo, okay, there's Maya Angelou and Michelangelo. Okay, duh, ain't that dumb, all right? But that, and that on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, okay, where he has God supposedly giving the breath of life or the touch of life to Adam, okay? And this God had a form, all right? Looked like he's a man. But once you said that something has a form, all right, is it limited? Is it restricted? Jones.
Well, what role does choice play in freedom?
Well, good question. If you have choice, you got to have two or more, right? And if you have two or more, then you have something called one that's limited and another that's limited. Choice can't be anything anywhere near freedom. If you have choice, you're not free. Okay? See, only that which is unrestricted, unlimited, and that's what freedom means. Okay? That there are no boundaries, no restrictions. So to choose door A or choose door B. All right? Door A is limited, and so is door B. All right? So we're talking really about that which is unlimited. Okay? And that which is unlimited is really freedom. But you as a human, because you think, you would think that because you think, anytime you think, you're going to have something called limited. All thoughts are limited. Okay? So as Glory was saying earlier, freedom is now. Now is unlimited. Okay? So once you have something called a thought, you have automatically brought in bondage, brought in limitation. Okay, Glory, you want to stay?
So you said that we can't eliminate thought, we can't eliminate thinking.
As a
in
human.
this form, as a human, you can't, you're going to think.
Right.
So as a human operating below the line, I think that there's a separation between me, this body, and God's identity, and freedom, or now, or whatever the words that we use to point to God's identity. So if I believe those thoughts, then I stay trapped in this freedom, in this prison called human form.
Right.
If I notice those thoughts, but I don't believe them, is that a form of being free?
No, you're still limited. You're still bound because there's a you who's separate from your thoughts. You know, when Jesus supposedly said, my thoughts are not your thoughts, referring to God's thoughts, okay? See, I can think, and whenever I think, I have to think about something. There's a subject and an object, all right? There appears to be an objective world. Like I can think about the six of you, or I can think about you who are out there watching whatever. I can think about Donald Trump, okay, or whatever, okay? But I am thinking that's a preposition. And a preposition means that there is a relationship, okay? There's a subject-object relationship. So yes, even if I'm watching something, if I'm observing something, I am observing that I'm the subject, and there's the object which I'm observing, which is my thought, okay? So I'm still caught in, and that's all human thinking. All human thinking is really about subject-object. That's why if I worship a God, I have committed blasphemy. If I pray to a God, I have committed blasphemy, all right? If I say I have a religion, I don't care what it is. It could be Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, or atheism. It is my thought. Do you get it? It's a belief, all right? And anytime I have a thought, I have denied the infinity of what is, because you can't think about infinity. You know, if you say this is infinity, that's just a symbol for infinity. That's not infinity, all right? So if you say, I worship Allah, I worship Jehovah, you're worshiping a thought, a belief, a concept, and that's a limited, finite thought, all right? And God is not limited. Why? Because only infinity is. So anytime you worship a God, you have castrated God. You can't do it, but that's why we think we're here, because we want to think that Alan Carter wants to think that he is Alan and not God. And once I think I'm Alan, I have automatically denied the infinitude of all that is.
Why do you want to think you're Alan and not God?
Well, because I want to exist as Alan. Okay? Alan has this thing, any human, Gloria, Carol, Joan, Lydia, Leonard, Diana, whoever. Okay? We are identified with this self. All right? Psychologists like to call it a self-concept. And that's what it is. It's a concept. It's a thought. Okay? It's a thought within the mind. See, this mind, I think, is within this head. I call it a brain, a pound and a half of flesh, really mainly with water. Okay? And I said that it tells me everything. Okay? That my consciousness is within me. That's what I think. Okay? And that if I pull a bullet, if I take a gun, I think that would, kill me off, or you could take a bullet, and shoot me or whatever. And that's because I think I'm a body and that my consciousness is in a body. Well, how can that be if God, now when we say God, you got to get clearer, okay? Because, everybody's been told what God is. Even when you ride around in Atlanta, you will see on the tag something, license plate, something called "In God We Trust." That's a lie. Okay? Or when you sneeze, what do people say?
Bless you.
God bless you. Okay? There's a you and a God. In God we trust. There's this me, Gloria, who has to have a relationship with a God. Okay? How can you have a relationship with a God? You can't. You can only be God. But to be God, you got to give up thinking you're Gloria, or Carol, or Joan.
But we have no choice, so how can I give that up?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you have no choice there.
Right.
So freedom itself can be a concept.
Yes, to Joan. Yeah, because all Joan can think about are concepts. Joan cannot, like I was saying, when Jesus said, "My thoughts are not your thoughts," Joan can't have God's thoughts. Joan can only have a human thought, okay, which is finite, which is encased in something called time and space. You can't think outside of time and space. If I said, "Joan, what is this?" you would say chalk, of course. And the only way you know that this is a piece of chalk is that you had to go into your memory. Something that Mama taught us. Who was your first grade teacher? Miss Smith? Yeah.
Miss Smith.
Yeah, Miss Smith. Yeah, I didn't have her. I had Miss R. Second. Anyway, something somebody taught you. Okay? In other words, you had to go into your memory. She had to still stay within time, in other words. Okay? Everything you see here is based on time. You're never with anybody. You never can see anybody. You can only see what you project out, okay, out of your memory. I had a patient one time, I think I told you, I had a patient one time who was a dancer in one of these nude clubs. Nude clubs, okay? I know you don't know anything about them, right? Yeah, sure, right. I don't know anything about them either. Okay.
They have nude clubs for women.
Yeah, a few. Yeah, but mainly, so I hear. Okay.
Well, they do. I've been to one.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, good.
I felt so free.
Yeah, why not? Don't let any society, define you or confine you, okay? But anyway, I had this patient one time. She was a dancer in one of these nude clubs, okay? And anyway, she said something very profound. She said, "No one has ever seen me. No one has ever seen you, okay? Have I ever seen Joan, who I've known all my life? I've never seen Joan. I can only know perception is based upon your thoughts. You see what you believe, all right? All of life is a Rorschach. Rorschach, that's the ink blot test that shrinks like to use a lot, okay? Had to take 2 years of it at Columbia. And, yeah. Anyway, at least I passed it, okay? But anyway, it's just what you project out. Everything is a projection. It is a mental projection. Look, thanks to Leonard, I got a new DVD. All right? This is The Wizard of Oz. I guess everybody has seen this movie, right? Profound movie, okay? And in this movie, all right, you know about Dorothy and the Tin Man and the Straw Man and forgot
The lion.
Right. Anyway, they were all trying to see the wizard. This is a movie. It needs a projector, okay? Everything is in here, all right? And it's projected outward. That's all the mind does. It projects outward into time and space. That's Big Bang, okay? How can God project outward? How can there be something outside of God? How can God create? How can God take some dust, a reel from Adam, and blow into some dust, as I think in Genesis 1 or 2, or take Adam's reel, then made you women or something like that. You know a man wrote that, because the word woman means out of a man. Okay, so men come first. Yeah, well, yeah, men wrote the Bible. I mean, it's like, what's history? Whoever won the last war, okay? But anyway, the point, though, is you got to see how all of this is a setup to limit you, to make sure that you are no more than a puppet. This is all Alan Carter is, a puppet designed by the puppeteer.
So knowing that all I am or all Gloria is, all Alan is that puppet, is that an access to freedom?
Well, see, if you say access to freedom, that means you're outside of it. Okay? How can you
well,
be
as a human,
as a
puppet,
think.
I am outside
Yeah,
of it.
well, let's take
So
Jesus.
I want to get inside. I want to cross that line.
Well,
is
you
it
already
possible
are.
to cross that line? That's right.
Right.
I already am. There's no
I
line to
am
cross.
that I am. That is absolute truth. I am. Can you ever be not? Can you ever not exist? Am means to exist. It's a form of the word to be, okay? So I am. There's always being. There cannot be non-existence or non-being. And what is it that is being? That is aware, that which is aware of being. Nothing can exist unless there is something that is aware of it. Like if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a noise, okay? There has to be an awareness. You can call that awareness I. It's an awareness of the infinite presence. There cannot be absence. There has to be presence, okay? And that I do know I'm present. How can I say I'm not present? That's impossible. I'm always present. Where? Here. When? Now. I am here now. That's absolute truth. Now, can I go away? Where? Where can I go? Okay? I'm always here. I can't ever be there. You're always there. Okay? So, and since I'm always,
Go ahead.
Well, go.
I mean,
Stand up.
to me, that's the conundrum, is that you are standing there saying I, but we're seeing a form called Alan.
You are. Okay? You don't know what Carol is seeing. All right? You're assuming that she's seeing me. All right? See, all I can speak for is I. All right? Look, let me tell you one thing God can't do. All right? You want to hear what God can't do?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Being himself.
Right. And to put it another way, she said, stop being, you want to say it, Lydia?
Stop being itself.
Yeah. Or, another way to say it is God cannot conjugate the verb to be. You go, huh? No, y'all, I haven't been smoking any funny cigarettes, okay? And haven't been drinking any Bacardi or whatever, okay? When you conjugate the verb to be, what are you doing? You're saying that there's something else other than I. Because when you conjugate I am, what? Then you say what? You are. Now there's something else other than I. Then I say he, she, so forth. Then I go into the plural form. But if God could conjugate the verb to be, he would have to know what you is. Okay? How can God know what you is? I know Joe, Mr. Simpson taught me grammar. Okay? You means that there's something that limits me. See, you limit me. All right? This is why you got to get, I'm going to say something that may sound blasphemous.
Everything you're saying is blasphemous.
Yeah, okay. So what? You know, I'm talking about what God can't do. Okay? He cannot. Now notice I use a pronoun. This is just words, okay? God cannot, as Lydia was saying, God cannot stop being God. And God can't know you. Okay? God can only know me. Well, who is me? Not Alan. Okay? Not Jesus. God can't know Jesus. If God could know Jesus or Moses, okay, or whoever, if God could know Moses as separate from him or Jesus as separate from him, then God is not free and God is restricted and limited. Get it? Yeah, Leonard.
I know you and Carol are very familiar with this, but in the Course in Miracles, the introduction says, nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. So really, I'm getting the impression now that you're saying that freedom, infinity, the all is the real I. Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to say me because that kind of makes you think it's talking about Leonard.
Right.
But the real I that you're saying, and God, what Lydia was saying, is that what God cannot do is cease being aware.
Right.
It can never happen that God cannot be awareness.
Right.
And in that freedom, it's effortless because you don't have to do anything. You have no choice. So there is no division and there is no human and personal identity at that point.
Right.
And that I is always present, as you said. So your question here is, what would you have to face in your life to be free? Get rid of the human and personal identity, of course, but you'd have to go through the fear of losing that. And that's where the conundrum is, because we're always constantly accepting limitations and lack and fear as normal when it isn't. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with being normal. The only thing that's normal is freedom.
Right.
And so this is a wonderful, opportunity that you have this show to be able to help people see that and point to it. But no one's going to understand that until they're able to face the fear of their own, demise. I guess you could say demise or extinction or release of the human and personal identity.
Right. This appears real. Loss. Okay? And the biggest loss that most of us fear is death. Okay? Joan and I have a brother who, quote, died a few weeks ago. Okay? And all of us have seen people die. Joan and I buried our parents. Okay? Most of you probably had to bury your parents or whatever, okay? And so that looks like there's a loss. There was somebody here who was walking, talking, and so forth, all right? And so then you said there's a loss, okay? And the biggest loss I have is I think that I will lose, like you said. See, Christians say that Jesus overcame death. Well, I mean, we think death has to deal with the body, okay? Because there's such a rigid identification of this I with a form, okay? And that's how the human mind operates, that I am a form. I am a body that came out of Ruth Carter, okay? Everybody thinks that they are a body that came out of a woman, okay? That's not true. That's a lie. That makes Satan real. And you were right, Leonard, it makes this fear of loss real, appear real. Because if you came in here with an AK-47, and started shooting, all of us would start ducking. Yeah, that self-preservation would kick in. Okay? But what's the self that you're trying to preserve? It is this self that is denying who you really are. Who you really are is God. But your human mind doesn't want you to get that. Okay? It has to say, I am Alan Carter, the son of Robert and Ruth Carter, or whatever. Okay? And that is my experience. And you can't tell me that that's not true. Yeah, that's what the human mind says. And it will fight, as Linda was saying, for its survival. Because it's always afraid. It's nothing but fear. That's what this world runs off of. And we only have just a few seconds left. We can get into the next show, okay? So what we want to look at is this thing called limitation and freedom. Can it coexist? And what we are saying that if you'll set the premise that freedom is about unlimited, unrestricted, then there can be no limitation. And then if you bring it on home to what does that have to do with me? Good question. And I invite you to entertain that question, really to, ponder that question. So you'll begin to get deeper into the question, who is this I that thinks it's limited, that thinks it's finite, and says it wants freedom, but really maybe doesn't understand what freedom is. So ponder that, consider that, and see what that can bring up for you. Thank you.